So if you watch this video, hopefully it'll save you a lot of this trouble that I'm going through. Cause I had to undo every one of them springs, and then I done redone them, and now I know I'm gonna have to undo. Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Papaw's place. As always, if this is your first time here, thanks for dropping in. Feel free to drop in anytime you feel, my friend. Guys, today we finna put Colton's trampoline together, and this here's a little late Christmas present because it was too cold to put it up during Christmas time. He had a bouncy house right here, but guys, them bouncy houses don't do good in that sunlight, UV, and rain and all that, leaving them out. And I tried to blow it up and keep it as clean every time after it rained, but it didn't even last a good year. But he actually done outgrowed that anyway, so we got him a trampoline. So today I'm finna do y'all a step-by-step video on how to put together, this is called a 14-foot heavy-duty pro trampoline with basketball hoop, it says. So first I'm gonna lay the box down and I'm gonna get the pieces out, and then I get y'all over here and we're gonna do this step by step to make it easy for y'all so you ain't gotta read the directions when you want to put together one of these trampolines. Now it comes in two boxes, as you see. So we finna tear into them. So this here says box number 1 of 2. We're gonna tear into it first. Well, that there looks like the side netting. We're just gonna lay it all out here. They send you a pair of gloves here you can work with. Then we got the side bars with the padding already around them. Now I'm going to tell y'all each piece as I start assembling it. Right now I'm just getting it out of the box and putting all pieces that's alike in one little file. And of course there's the trampoline netting itself. It looks like the basketball goal. Here's the little T-pieces that put the framework together itself. Again, I'll explain more about these when we get to them. There's the little tool that's got a hook on it that's made to pull your spring. Y'all gonna get close up how that works. There's the box with all your springs in it. It's better when you're going to assemble something, go on and get every piece out. Get it unwrapped so you can see it. That way when you start, you won't be having to stop, unwrap, and untie. Now I ain't going to get the basketball goal out because I know that's the very last part. And it got some little metal rods here. Now we're going to move on to box number 2. So let's see what box number 2 has to offer. That's your padding. And some more legs and framework. And we have another box of springs. I'm gonna lay right over here by these. Three boxes of springs. And like I said, this little tool here will help with putting them springs on. So now let's get y'all over here at a different angle and we're gonna start laying this out to assemble. And these are T-brackets. T-bracket A is just a pipe, looks like a T. T-bracket B is the same thing, but on the back of it, it's got a square tubing welded on it. That's gonna be for your poles going up. So that's where you gotta keep these separated. We're gonna take our trampoline frame, take one piece and make sure the hose is laying on the ground. Because we're building this upside down to start with. Slide one T-bracket on one end of them. You want to do 6 of them like that. Now again, right now we're using T-bracket. That is called T-bracket A. Just put them on one end of 6 of these poles. And don't do like I just done. I almost put that upside down. Again, make sure that your holes that your springs is going to be clamped in is pointing toward the ground and your T-brackets is pointing up. Now guys, the directions don't say, but on these T-pieces, they got a hole in each one of them right here. That's where when you set your legs in it, that's where it's going. The little pop ribbit, I call it, a pop out, and I'll show y'all that later. But I'm making sure all of my holes, show y'all close up, them holes right there. I'm gonna have mine where they all facing the inside. Like I said, the directions don't say nothing about that. So now moving on to the T-brackets B. Same thing, make sure your holes in your framework here is pointed down. But when you put these on, guys, make sure the square tubing, the one that has the square tubing on it, is on the inside of this curve. See how it's curved like that? You want this piece on the inside of your curve, just like that. So now that I see how them are, that throws that hole right here I just showed y'all to the outside. So now I'm gonna go back and turn my other ones around, because these can't go on but one way and the hose is to the outside. So therefore, I'm gonna put these with the hose to the outside. That would only make sense to me. Like I said, the directions don't tell you about this hole, but it does tell you to put the square tubing to the inside of this curve on T-bracket B. So we're gonna make our T-bracket A match our T-bracket B's. This is some of the parts right here that watching the video is gonna help you, because the directions don't explain that. Alright, now I continue on with T-bracket B. Again, make sure the square tubing parts facing inside the curve. So now we got all 6 of them together. Now guys, this next part I'm gonna do different from what the direction says. I'm gonna put my framework together on the ground, and then I'm gonna flip it over. Since I'm just doing it by myself, it's easier for me to do it this way. But if you have somebody helping you, you could put 2 of these together and work your way around with your legs. But I'm gonna show you how you do it if you're doing it by yourself. So we're gonna take one piece with your T-piece B and put it together with the piece with the T-piece A. So it's every other one. Guys, I don't know if I can flip this whole thing up by myself, so I'm gonna try doing half of it. Half of it and see what happens here. So after I put half the frame together, I'm gonna take the short piece of your leg here. And there's the little button clip. This is why I was saying put these holes all one direction, which is to the outside of your trampoline. When you put it in there, make sure that little button jumps out of that hole. So again, this is called your legs. Stick it in there, smash that button, but make sure it sticks out. And I'm gonna do that all the way around. All right, guys, the next is your leg supports. Now you gotta watch on these, because they're gonna go from the T-bracket B to the T-bracket A. And then it'll be a skip, and then it'll be T-bracket A to T-bracket B. If you mess up and put them T-bracket A to T-bracket B, you're gonna be wrong. I mean T-bracket A to T-bracket A, you're gonna be wrong. You want T-bracket B to T-bracket A, or vice versa, T-bracket A to T-bracket B. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Again, make sure your buttons pop out. And then that's where I'm talking about. You're gonna have a skip right here. Then you're gonna go from T-bracket A to T-bracket B again. Guys, I just discovered it does make a difference. You want all these holes with these buttons pointed to the outside of your trampoline. I'd messed up and had this one still turned backwards. And if it's backwards, when you stick these legs together, these pins won't line up with these holes. So everything's got to be pointed to the outside of the trampoline. Again, if that was in the directions, I didn't see it. Now I'm going to try flipping this over, because I don't think I can flip the whole thing over by myself. And I'm going to see if I can continue putting this together like this now. So what am I on? I need a T-bracket A with a leg in it. So yes, I can tell you right now, putting half of it together It's gonna be way a lot better than trying to turn a 14-foot circle over by yourself. Uh-oh. That one didn't want to stay in there, did it, guys? The reason it did that is because I had another one of my T-brackets on backwards. And when I wanted to pull it apart, I pulled it apart. So guys, that's all it is to the framework. Next, we're gonna get the netting right out here in the middle, fold it out, and I'll show you how to put the springs on. So now we got the jumping mat is the proper name for this. You want to fold it out. And this got an X on it, right in the center. You want your X pointed up. And that's good enough for what we've been to do. Alright guys, this is the part where I think a lot of people cause themselves more hectic than it is. You want to start out with one spring, and whatever side of the T-post you start on, you see if I'm looking this way, I'm going to start right on the right side of it. Your spring's got a big hook and a little hook. You want the little hook on the jumping mat, and the big hook's the hook in here. So to start out, just hook the little hook onto your eye, onto the matting, set it in there. Now what you want to do is count these holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to be right one on the right. Count these right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go around and do that, just putting a spring on each side of the T. And like you said, make sure your small end of your spring's hooked onto the netting, the big end hooks onto the frame. So we're gonna go around, I'm gonna count 7, and I'm only gonna put a spring at each T. And like I said, this is where a lot of people go wrong and makes this harder on themselves. If you start trying to do every one of them as you go, it causes you more trouble at the end. Alright guys, once you get around here and you ain't got but 2 left, it kind of gets harder to pull. This is where this T-bracket comes in. The little tool that's in. You hook it on there just like that, pull it and hook it in. That's the main reason you want the small end on the trampoline, one of the reasons. Other reason, when they're bouncing on it, you don't want it to jump off. I'll show you this up close. Just hook it in there just like that. Pull it. Guys, if you'll do that and do it at every T, whatever side of the T you start on, do that all the way around first, and it makes sure everything's centered up before you go putting all these springs on. So now I'm finna go around and put all these springs on, and then we'll get back to the next step. But the little T-handle is very handy. Alright guys, I just discovered something else different in some of these springs. The hook's about the same size, but one of them's got the short and one of them's got a longer. The longer goes to your metal frame and the short goes to the netting. That first box I started with, it had a little bigger hook on one end than it did the other one. So my springs is 3 boxes of springs. They ain't all the same, but they work. I done dropped the spring, I hope. Yep, I dropped one over on the ground. Guys, if I counted them right, that's 84 springs. Now, moving on to the next step. Alright guys, the next step, you got your poles with your padding around them. Your upper's the one with the curve. Your lower is just a straight. You want to stick these two together. You gotta pull your foam down so you can see the hole to make sure them buttons line up and pops back out. Now we ain't gonna put these on yet, I'm just assembling these. We gotta do this 6 times. I'm gonna put them together and go on and lay them around at each. Guys, look at me. I done messed up when that fell apart and put this T-piece on wrong. Now I gotta turn it back around. A while ago when it fell off on me. See, that's what I forget for not paying attention. So now I gotta undo some of them springs to get that turned back around. So anyway, I'm gonna assemble these and then I'll get back with y'all. Guys, I wish one of you would have told me that when y'all seen it a while ago, 'cause I know one of y'all seen me put that on wrong. I'm about gonna have to undo half the dang mat to get this back apart. Yeah, I'm basically starting over. All right, guys. So that was a time-consuming mistake I made by not paying attention and getting this one T-bracket, number B, or letter B, turned to the outside. So in order to get that apart, to get that turned around, I pretty much had to take every spring back off here except my ones I started with, one at each T-bracket. So that's a note for you. Just put your spring on at your T-bracket and don't put no other springs on at that point. I went on and put my springs on and then discovered I had a T-bracket backwards. Also, the directions say don't put any more springs on, just one at each T-bracket, and then move to the step we're finna do right now. So if you watch this video hopefully it'll save you a lot of this trouble that I'm going through. Cause I had to undo every one of them springs, and then I done redone them, and now I know I'm gonna have to undo 2 of these, which ain't no big deal, just undoing 2 at each T-bracket when we get to that step of putting this netting up. And may have to undo more of them when we put the padding on, I don't know. But it says fold out the safety netting. And it says make sure the warning label right here at the zipper door is facing out. Well, I want the door around on this side. I don't exactly know how I'm supposed to lay out a round circle, but we're gonna give it our best right here. You see a lot of these people got videos putting these trampolines together, but they don't show all the mistakes they made putting it together. I'm showing you the real deal here. Mistakes and all. Try to help y'all, keep you from making these mistakes. Alright. That's close enough. I can turn the trampoline, 'cause I'm gonna move the trampoline a little bit when I get done anyway. But here's got these T-buckles. And it says take your upright pole, and your curvature is going to be going to the outside of the trampoline. And I'm going to get y'all up here close to show you this. And on top of this pole, you're going to run that strap through one eye right there, back through the other eye. And then it has these 2 buckles, which just like on putting on a belt with these little buckles. You run it through both of them like so. Split them and come back over the first one and under the second one. And then I'm gonna run that right back through this other eye. Just like so. Now I'm gonna do that 5 more times. Alright guys. Now it says stand your poles up. So that's what we do. Like I said, when you hooking them clips on the top, make sure your poles is turned out, because again, I put one of them on wrong and had to change it again. Even though I knew that. All right. So the poles is up. Now this is where I got to undo. I'm going to end up undoing all these springs again. You watch me. But for right now, I'm going to do 2 at each T and hook this on. So I looked at the directions again, and it shows to hook that right there. Hook that back on there on the small end and hook that back. Now I'm going to go around there and make sure my door's centered up before I do any more of them. Alright guys, so it just says to do this on each side of the T-bracket. But I got a feeling I'm finna have to undo every one of these springs to do something with that pad and to hook these. So again, that's why when you put your jumping mat on, you only put 1 spring on the same side of each T-piece and then you don't put no more springs on at that step. I made a mistake and had that backwards. I done these springs twice and finna end up doing them 3 times. Yep. Now it's time to undo every one and do them all just like I just got through doing. Alright guys, so I'm going to go around and do all them springs, hooking them on the bottom of the net just like that. Then I'll get back with y'all, and all we're going to like is putting the pad on. But to put the pad on, then you got to remove these back out of the slots, lay them down, put the pad on, then stand these back up. So I'll be back with y'all in a moment. Alright guys, so all the springs is hooked through the netting. Like I said, all you do is just hook it through there and hook it through the eye and hook your spring back. So all that's done. So again, as a reminder, when you put the jumping mat on, only put 1 spring at each tee on the same side of the tee you start out with. And don't put no more springs on until you get the netting on to this step. Now we got to unpin this pole and lay it down in order to put the pad around, because the pole's got to stick back through the pad now, it says. This may be easier said than done. That ain't so easy to do, guys. Holding that button and pushing them up with that tension on it. Okay guys, that there wasn't easy at all. Now we're gonna get the padding. We're gonna put this writing right over at the door. Getting a little windy out here too today. And guys, it's got holes through here. It has to be lined up where your post goes back up. So then you stand your post back up. I hope this is easier to do than it was getting them off. Alright guys, the trampoline is completed. Now my battery run down on my camera when I was standing these poles back up. But, so what did we learn? We learned to make sure your T-brackets, your A's, the holes all point out where your legs clamp onto them. Your T-brackets B, of course the holes will be pointed out, but the square tubing on back of it will be on the inside of your trampoline frame. One of the main things we learned is when you put the jumping mat on, only put 1 spring. Just say if you start at the right side of your T-bracket, put 1 spring on the right side of every T-bracket, but of course count your hoops and make sure you got the right number. And don't put no more springs on. But then it showed where I think a man could get by doing something different y'all seen when it showed putting these poles up in this netting, then I had to get them poles back out of there to put the pad on, which is what the direction says. That was extremely hard to get them poles out of there. I think a person could put his pad on and then put his poles in his netting up. And I'm gonna bring you over here and show you. So it's got enough slack you can pick these up and hook your other springs to your netting and put all your springs on. And that would save you from having to remove these, put the padding on, and then put these back. Because that was the hardest part of all, is getting these poles right here out of there. So another thing, I stake mine down. I got one long tent stake, and I put a stake on at each leg, because guys, I've seen too many of these. When it comes a windstorm up, it'll blow them into your house or wherever. I don't want it blowed into my swimming pool and tear it up. I don't want it blowed into the side of my house. So a good tent stake, which they make metal ones. These are some heavy duty plastic ones with holes in them, and I got them tied at each thing, so I think it's pretty supportive. So I hope this video helps somebody out. For sure it ought to show you some mistakes not to make that'll save you time, and you can see one person can do this pretty simple, especially if you put this pad on before you put this pole and this netting up, and not have to remove them poles back out of there. Now the only thing I ain't done is put the little basketball goal up in there, which I do that at a later date if it ever gets done. It's just a little old bitty plastic basketball hoop. My grandson's got a basketball goal out here if he wants to play basketball, so it may get put in there at a later date and it may not. But guys, like I said, I hope this helps somebody out. If you like these type little videos, please reach down there and hit that subscribe button. It don't cost you a thing. Give me a thumbs up. That really helps me out with my YouTube videos. Share these videos on your social medias with anyone that you think this may be helpful with. And ladies out there, if your husbands or boyfriends tells you they can't put a trampoline together till they get some help, tell them to go see Papaw, that he put that together by himself. Ain't no excuses. But as always, guys, oh, there's another thing. I actually done this without putting on these Michael Jackson gloves. Oh well. Maybe some people need the gloves, but I didn't think I needed no gloves. But as always, guys, I hope y'all have a great day, a blessed week. God bless. See y'all next time.